All right, welcome back. So last week, we spent a lot of time on this idea of affordance, right? How an object's own essential structure kind of dictates the meanings it can hold. Well, today, we're going to use that very idea to go after a ghost that's been haunting philosophy for centuries, a ghost summoned by none other than Immanuel Kant himself. This question, this is the one. Kant posed it so sharply that it created this huge problem, this deep, seemingly unbridgeable gap between our minds and reality. And honestly, Husserl's entire project of phenomenology was designed specifically to solve this problem. So let's unpack how Kant built this wall, and then we'll see how Husserl just comes in and tries to tear the whole thing down. So here's the plan. We'll start by really digging into Kant's incredibly influential model of reality in the mind. Then we'll see how Husserl just systematically dismantles it, piece by piece. And finally, and this is the important part, we'll figure out what this huge shift means for you as someone who actually wants to practice phenomenology. Okay, let's start with Kant's framework. What he does, essentially, is split reality into two totally separate realms. And by doing that, he creates this massive philosophical challenge that, believe me, echoed for generations. So for Kant, the world we see, touch, and interact with, the world of tables, chairs, trees, that's the world of phenomena. It's just the world of appearances. But he says, lurking behind all that is this other realm, the realm of noumena. That's the world of things as they truly are, totally independent of our minds. And the kicker, for Kant, that noumenal world is forever beyond our grasp. Now, what's so crucial to get here is that this thing in itself, this noumenon, it's just a necessary placeholder. Kant felt he had to assume there was something out there causing our experiences, right? But he concluded we could never know what it is. It's just an x, a variable in an equation that we can never ever solve for. This, right here, is the ultimate ghost in the machine, a source of reality that we have to assume exists but can never actually know. Okay, so if reality in itself is just this big, unknowable X, that raises a massive question, doesn't it? How do we end up with the rich, ordered, structured world we all seem to experience every day? Well, Kant's answer was brilliant, and it was deeply influential. He said the mind itself is the architect, or maybe a better way to think about it, it's a kind of factory. Think of this as the assembly line of our experience. For Kant, meaning isn't something we discover out in the world. Nope, it's something we actively impose onto this passive, raw, formless sensory material that comes flooding in. Just think about that for a second. Concepts like causality or substance, they aren't features of reality itself. They're just tools, like stamps in a factory, that our understanding uses to organize this chaotic input into something that makes sense. And then Husserl comes along. And he looks at this whole complicated framework, this huge divide between an unknowable reality and our experience, and he basically says it's a monumental error. A beautiful, complex building, sure, but one that's built on a single, false premise. He wants to pull back the curtain, only to show us that there was never anything behind it to begin with. This quote, this gets right to the heart of Husserl's whole critique. He's saying Kant's big mistake was just assuming that all the world gives us is this formless, meaningless sensory data, this sensuous manifold, that our minds then have to build into something we can understand. For Husserl, that is a profound misunderstanding of what experience is. Experience gives us so much more than that. And what this really means is we shouldn't be sad about this inaccessible thing in itself. This ghost isn't some tragic limit on what we can know. For Husserl, it's just a philosophical prejudice. A theoretical fiction that we absolutely have to throw out if we ever want to get back to the things themselves. Okay, so if we get rid of this hidden, unknowable world, what's left? What is the thing in itself if it's not some mystery X hiding behind a curtain? Husserl's answer is both incredibly simple and, for philosophy, completely revolutionary. This is it. This is the fundamental shift. For Kant, the phenomenon, the appearance, is a barrier. It's a veil that actually conceals true reality from us. But for Husserl, the appearance is the exact opposite. It's the very medium through which the object gives itself, through which it reveals itself to us, piece by piece, perspective by perspective. I want you to think about a coffee mug on your desk. When you look at it, you only actually see one side of it, right? But you don't perceive it as just a flat surface. You perceive it as a three-dimensional mug. Your perception is already filled with these anticipations of the back, the bottom, the inside you can't see. For Husserl, The mug is this entire series of profiles, perspectives, and potential shadings. So the object's full being, its thing in itselfness, it isn't some hidden core. It is the infinite structured system of all of its potential appearances. The essence of that mug is the rule that governs how all of those different perspectives unfold and fit together. It's not a block hidden behind the curtain. It's the very logic of the curtain itself.
And this is the key. This brings us right back to our discussion of affordance from last week. The object itself gives us the clues. The way it appears from this one angle motivates and sets the rules for how it has to appear from another angle. Our minds don't need to slap on some external category like substance, because the object's own continuous self-presentation affords the experience of a unified, enduring thing. The structure is already in the thing, and our mind just follows it.
So, what does all of this mean for you as someone who wants to actually do philosophy using this method? Well, getting rid of this Kantian ghost, it changes everything. This isn't just some abstract theoretical debate. This is your new instruction manual.
This is your new mandate, your new game plan. Stop speculating about some unknowable reality. Your job as a phenomenologist is to turn your full attention to the world as it's actually given to you. You need to meticulously describe the rich, meaningful structures that reveal themselves directly in your experience. The world isn't hiding from you, it's offering itself up, and your task is simply to learn how to see it clearly. You see, this whole shift empowers you to engage directly with the world as it actually presents itself. It allows you to find the universal essence right there in the particular appearance, and to practice philosophy with a kind of clarity and purpose that was impossible before. By letting go of the ghost in the machine, we are finally free to see the machine itself, in all of its intricate, meaningful glory.